DeFalco.
And I'm Lisa Marie Falbo. Let's check in with meteorologist Mike Favetta on your Garden State weather forecast.
Good morning to you both. How you doing on this Friday?
Good morning, Mike. Doing good. It's chilly out there, but it's a beautiful morning.
It is sunny, yes, but the chill has returned. It was incredible how mild it was last night. Felt like a throwback to early fall, but yet winter around the corner. On this December morning, we have wind chills right now that are in the 30s, holding it freezing across New Jersey, and that will be the case going into this afternoon with another round of chilly weather each and every afternoon here across New Jersey. We'll start off with some temperatures, especially in the northern part of the state, where we begin with temperatures right now feeling like the 30s, but throughout the afternoon, we go to 45 degrees. Some headlines for you on this Friday morning with another round of cool weather returning. We had a mild Thursday, and with all of that mild weather from yesterday, it turns quiet this weekend. No storms expected, but likely see a few showers arrive by later on in Monday. Now, speaking of November, we have a recap for you, and there's a lot of text on this graphic, but just look at the highlights on the bottom right. Newark had the 7th driest November. It was a rather rain-free month when you consider how much rain we typically get in the average month. It's just rather mild. It was mild, especially up in Newark, where we had a temperature a whole degree warmer than average. So rather mild weather all around. And even going in through the next few days, we look forward to the wintertime chill because hurricane season ended 2 days ago on November 30th. And with all of the stats showing that the hurricanes did not give us a large wallop of number of storms here in the East Coast. We, however, had our storms in New Jersey, Ida, Henri, ones that you can't forget, and it was the third most active on record. Specifically regarding how many storms were named, we used up the entire list. All 21 names were used up for this hurricane season. So the next few days, bringing back another round of cold weather with the clear sky on tap. Beautiful this weekend and seasonably chilly. Again, Lisa, Marie, and Kara, no rain until Monday, where highs yet again climb into the mid-60s. We'll have a check of your holiday shopping forecast. That coming up in just a few minutes.
Thanks, Mike. And I love your poinsettias. We have the poinsettias behind us as well.
Yes, we're all decorated. We're ready. We're ready for Christmas here.
We are ready to go. Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Mike. So celebrity heart surgeon Dr. Oz is running for U.S. Senate in Pennsylvania. He's best known as the host of The Dr. Oz Show. He rose to fame on Oprah Winfrey's show. Now he's seeking the Republican nomination for Pennsylvania's open U.S. Senate seat. Dr. Oz, the candidate, is talking about people's health, costly drugs, skyrocketing medical bills, and criticized the government's handling of the COVID-19 pandemic.
But COVID has shown us that our system is broken. We lost too many lives, too many jobs, and too many opportunities because Washington got it wrong. They took away our freedom without making us safer and tried to kill our spirit and our dignity.
Dr. Oz is a longtime New Jersey resident, so he's taking some heat for his recent move to Pennsylvania, especially from New Jersey Democrats like Congressman Bill Pascrell, who said this on Twitter: "I want to congratulate my North Jersey constituent, Dr. Oz, on his run for U.S. Senate in Pennsylvania. I'm sure this fully genuine candidacy will capture the hearts of Pennsylvanians." Ouch.
What was this? Little shade there. Just a little bit.
I am surprised. I don't know how much of a shot he has.
I'm not so much surprised that he's running. It really is the move. It's like the geography of it that's kind of not making sense. Where he's always been a Jersey guy, even worked in the city. Like, why not start smaller here? Maybe if that's something that you want to pursue.
I don't know.
It's the geography of it for me is what's not making sense.
Yeah, and then if you do a deeper dive into his policies or opinions in the past, it's been more Democratic.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So all of a sudden, like, you were a Jersey Democrat and now you're a Pennsylvania Republican.
Yeah. We'll see how that all works
Yeah.
out. Sticking with politics right here in Jersey, our own Governor Phil Murphy is asking state legislators to pass a package of gun safety bills aimed at limiting sales of 50 caliber guns and requiring additional training and permits. So if passed, the bill would require firearm safety training to receive a gun purchase permit.
First up to bat, requiring anyone applying for a firearm purchaser card to first complete a certified safety course. How radical is that? You can't get a darn driver's license without proving you know how to drive a car. Why do we ask less when it comes to a gun?
So the bill would then also require gun owners to store their guns in a lockbox. The measure would ban 50 caliber firearms and require people who move to New Jersey to register their firearms within 30 days. The bill would also formalize how active shooter drills in schools are conducted across the state.
Very important stuff, especially what you saw out of Michigan this week.
Yes. Yeah. Interesting. I've always thought that, I think that's a great comparison. To own and operate a vehicle, you have to be trained. You have to prove proficiency in the ability to use a vehicle, and you have to register it. And that seems fair to me.
Yeah, definitely. Republican lawmakers are challenging COVID-19 rules at the New Jersey State House. New rules went into effect this week that requires elected officials, employees, and visitors to show proof of vaccination or get a negative test. The rules were put into place by the State Capitol Joint Management Commission. Republicans are challenging this in court, saying the rules are unconstitutional and the commission has no authority over how the legislature works. Oh, this COVID stuff is just not going away.
No, it's not. And you know what? So, and this, I don't know if you feel this, but this doesn't help me either. So there's a lot of people who hate the daylight savings things, which we just went through a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
And so that has everybody kind of turned upside down a little bit. State Senator Shirley Turner has introduced a bill that would make daylight savings time last year round, keeping the state on Eastern daylight savings time permanently, so that the time change then would affect things, it wouldn't affect people quite so much. So we'll be talking a little bit more about that later in the show. We're actually going to talk to a New Jersey-based clinical geropsychologist about the symptoms of seasonal affective disorder.
I never heard of that word until you just said it.
I do actually, neither have I. I know seasonal affective disorder, but I didn't realize there was someone specifically about who focuses on that. But I'm really interested to hear what they have to say, because I know. Do you feel? I feel it.
Oh,
I feel it big time.
You know something? I feel it more, believe it or not, when we lose the hour.
Really?
When we lose the hour, it takes weeks for me to get back on track.
Oh, I can do that. I mean, my sleep gets messed up, but this is the time of year where I am like, I had turned all the lights on in the house. Like, I like being in the studio because we have all the big, I'm like, I need the light.
No, with that, yes.
Yeah.
But I just, when we lose that hour, I mean, I run an hour behind anyway. So it's like
we run on
steps.
Italian time. That's why.
Yeah, exactly. The clocks are different around here. But like, I need that extra time.
Yeah. Yeah.
So. But whatever it is, then you get used to it. And then by the time you get used to it, it's time to
back
change again.
Yeah.
So just keep it one way or the
just
other.
Just pick one. We don't care which one, but
and
just
leave
pick
us
one.
alone. Exactly. Exactly. So where are we going from here, Garrett?
All right. So we just want to once again thank our friends over at Just Jersey. So if you check out all the great stuff behind us, that is where you can find all of these beautiful things. Coming up later in the show, we've got some unusual Christmas decorations to tell you about as well, and a couple of more wonderful guests up in just a bit.
And you can connect with us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Who is going to be on the show?
The American Lung Association invites you to join us outside in 2021 for our Fight for Air Climb events. Now more than ever, we need you in the fight for clean air and healthy lungs. Let's go outside and climb, because every step counts. Visit us at lung.org.
Swing the hips. Oh boy, they weren't kidding. Whoop.
You're looking for a gold crown.
Sure. So you say you're helping people through. How are you doing that?
Welcome back to the New Jersey Morning Show. Let's bring in meteorologist Mike Favetta with a check of that Jersey forecast. You mentioned something about shopping earlier, which is favorite thing. So.
Yeah, a lot of folks headed out, finishing up the shopping if they haven't started. Or I
was going to say starting, finishing.
There's no finishing around here. No.
Well, a little bit of wind today may make it tough if you're juggling all the boxes and bags walking back to the car, especially in the parking lots where you get those bigger gusts. This morning, the wind chill is real. It feels like it's in the 30s right now. Let's start over with the weather PC. Take a tour of temperatures across New Jersey. Right now, over in the northern part of New Jersey, up toward Bergen County, 33 degrees is how it feels, even over toward Morris County, up there by Franklin Lakes and Smoke Rise, 32 for you. How about down in Parsippany by West Orange and Livingston, 38 degrees. And right over toward Hackensack, 37 as your temperature. So it stays cool throughout this morning. And even going into the afternoon, there's not a whole lot of warming. The winds relax a little bit, but it's still going to be chilly down toward Edison and Middlesex County, 40 degrees for you. Out in Sandy Hook, 36. Had a beautiful sunrise this morning. And even down over toward Lambertville by the Trenton area, there over toward Princeton, 38 degrees. South Jersey enjoying the warm up throughout the weekend. But as far as today, it stays cold. Right now in Toms River, feels like 39 with that gusty breeze, and even over toward LBI, 38. So with our temperatures this morning, that will stay chilly. There will be a little bit of a milder trend. Your Friday forecast now brings back a whole lot of sunshine today, and temperatures holding in the mid-40s. That's average for this time of year. So any shopping plans, if you're headed out, maybe doing some shopping at some of the malls from Paramus, Freehold, Woodbridge, and Cherry Hill, your shopping forecast tomorrow actually looks a little bit milder by a degree or two. So with all the sunshine around, the dry weather, shopping forecast is good not only tomorrow, but check the date there on the top right corner of the screen. Let's change it to Sunday, and Sunday's forecast also just as pleasant with a mix of clouds and sun. So again, if you're headed out, you've got great weather to do so, and it won't be nearly as chilly. Even this weekend across many towns and locales here across New Jersey, a quiet weekend shaping up from Morristown toward Newark, even over toward Belmar and Trenton. All of the towns, and if we go to that weekend outlook, town by town will stay nice and dry. No threat of rain until the end of the weekend. And even with temperatures this weekend, if you go to the weekend outlook, it starts off nice and cool with numbers holding in the 40s and low 50s. I think the mildest place will be down toward the southern end of New Jersey, there toward Camden and Atlantic City, starting off this weekend in the 50s and holding there in the upper 40s. Hey, any football fans here where the Eagles take on the New York Jets? You've got a kickoff time of 1 o'clock, and with a temperature of 46 degrees, it'll feel chilly, but again, that sun setting nice and early, likely before the game ends, with plenty of clear sky headed throughout the weekend. We'll talk more about that rain on the way on the 7-day forecast. Lisa Marie and Kara, that's coming up in a few minutes.
What a great start to, well, it's not officially winter yet, but if this is our winter, I'll take it.
You'll take it. Yeah, this is nice. I'm not upset. It's December and it's not into the 30s yet, so I'm okay.
We'll take it for now.
We'll take it for now. We'll take what we can get, Mike. Whatever we can get.
Thank you. So one of the last public places you can still, unfortunately, smoke in New Jersey is in casinos. But there is a bill in Trenton that would ban smoking from casino floors. Despite the smoking bans we've seen in past years, smoking is still a major health concern. On the front lines, working to stop tobacco use, especially for children and young adults, are organizations like Tobacco Free for a Healthy New Jersey. Joining us now is Jenna Morris, the state coordinator for prevention at Tobacco Free for a Healthy New Jersey. Jenna, you're speaking my language here, girlfriend.
Yes, thank you.
Tell us about what your organization does.
Sure. First, I just want to thank you guys so much for having me and for the opportunity to talk today. So Tobacco Free for Healthy New Jersey is New Jersey's largest collaborative effort to reduce health consequences associated with tobacco use. And this includes vaping, as well as the harmful side effects from secondhand smoke. And we're able to do this through prevention efforts, such as policy work, like you mentioned before, as well as education, providing education to youth and communities, And then our cessation services. So connecting New Jersey residents who want to quit with cessation services. And the best part about this is it's all free. So we are able to provide this for free from our funder, the New Jersey Department of Health.
Nice. So Jenna, one of the things you guys are looking to do is to ban those flavored tobacco products. What are they, and why is it important to kind of ban those and get them out of the way?
Absolutely. So there's basically two reasons why we're looking to ban flavors. So one of the biggest reason is the initiation of our youth. They see these flavored products and they're interesting, and they're interested in these flavors, and it catches their eye. The marketing from big tobacco really draws them in. And our concern with this is that it's setting them up for a lifelong addiction to nicotine. So that is also an issue because of how it affects our brain. And we know that with youth and young adults, their brains are still developing until they're 25 years old. So nicotine has terrible effects on brain development. And that second reason are those health consequences. So flavors are generally recognized as safe when it comes to consumption, but not when it comes to inhalation. So when we're inhaling these flavors and these other harmful chemicals in e-cigarettes and other tobacco products, we're causing lung damage, and lots of other issues such as inflammation and harmful effects on the immune system, and maybe even something called popcorn lung. Caramel flavoring actually is associated with popcorn lung from research done at a popcorn factory, where the factory workers were actually inhaling this caramel flavoring that was being put on the popcorn and therefore causing lung damage.
Oof, terrible. Why is it important to see smoke-free campuses and workplaces across New Jersey?
So this goes not just for youth, but for all ages. So we don't want to expose our workers or our college students to secondhand smoke. Again, for the same reasons as these flavors, the harmful effects that will be done to your body from smoking and inhaling secondhand smoke. So by creating these comprehensive policies, we are protecting our workers, our visitors, our college students, and all New Jersey residents who have the right to breathe clean air.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so then how are you mentioned really the youth, how are you working with young people across the state to talk to them about this, the health risks associated with tobacco use, and maybe even, I don't know that the peer pressure for this stuff is as powerful as it was maybe when we were younger, but I think maybe for the vaping more.
For the vape, I was just going to say, I check in with my college age cousin and people around that age, and I said, do people still smoke cigarettes? They really don't, but
they vape.
Everybody's got a vape.
Right. This is the replacement. The vapes are the replacement to the cigarettes. Youth now know that cigarettes are harmful, but they don't all know about the harmful effects of e-cigarettes. So the way that we are working to combat this misconception and this misinformation is working with our youth through something called the Youth Tobacco Action Groups. And this is a prevention and cessation program for youth that are ages 13 to 18. And we have a county youth group in each one of our New Jersey counties. So there's 21 total. They have coined themselves as Incorruptible Us. And they are working with their peers and their community by educating them about the harmful side effects from smoking, and specifically vaping, since it's so popular among our youth.
Yeah. Jenna, thank you so much. I mean, you're talking to two adamant not smokers here.
Yes.
I always said the best law that was ever passed ever in the history of New Jersey was back in 2006 when they banned indoor smoking from most places. So
Absolutely.
if you could,
Yeah, we could finally go to a bar and enjoy ourselves.
Yeah, I would. I wanted to do broadcasting, and I would lose my voice every weekend. So that wasn't very good. But thank you so much. And we want to go back to casinos again too. So hopefully that gets back. Jenna, where can we learn more about you?
Sure. So anything that I talked about today and all of our other initiatives, you can learn from at our website, tobaccofreenj.com.
Thank you so much, Jenna. Have a wonderful weekend, and we hope to talk to you soon.
Thank you. You as well. Take care.
So 2 New Jersey women are heading to the 2022 Donate Life Rose Parade with the Ncaa Sharing Network. Lung transplant recipient Dawn Burke of Keyport and Janice Campbell of West Orange, the mother of her organ donor, will head to California for the parade. Campbell and her family put the finishing artistic touches on the florograph that will now be sent to California for placement on the Donate Life Rose Parade float. Burke will ride on the float during the Pasadena Tournament of Roses parade that will air nationally on New Year's Day. Look how beautiful that is.
When you hear a transplant stories
get me every time.
Oh.
Every time. It's just such a beautiful thing.
It really is.
It's so powerful.
Are you an organ donor?
I am, and my mother gets mad at me because she is a little afraid that if I ever get in a car accident, they won't save me because they want the organs.
That's totally. I mean,
is that not the most stereotypically Italian mom thing ever?
I am an organ donor too, because God forbid, at least I want to.
I'm not using it. Go ahead, have it.
Yeah, exactly. Kara, this news should be making you very excited. As a proud Rutgers alum.
As a proud Scarlet Knight.
Yes. The Rutgers University women's soccer team has advanced to the Ncaa College Cup semifinals. Joining us now to talk about the Lady Scarlet Knights and other hot button sports topics is JC Marie of JerseySportingNews.com. Good morning, JC.
Good morning. How are you?
Great. So Rutgers hasn't won a NCAA team title in literally generations. So talk about the exciting journey that the Rutgers women's soccer team has been on and their matchup tonight versus Florida State.
Right. So Rutgers women's soccer has, they made their first appearance in the Cup in 2015. And then they advanced to the Final Four this season for the second time in the last 6 years. Rutgers, they had a really great season. They only had 2 losses, and Florida State only had 1. They lost to Duke. I think it's going to be a really interesting game. We'll see what happens. I think it's going to be really enticing. But, I think it's going to be a really great game.
Well, and I think what's so special, particularly, as a Rutgers alum, is the school has really rallied behind the team. I think at one game they had 5,000 fans in attendance, which was a record. Not to mention 23 of the 28 players are originally from the Garden State. And as we move forward through the tournament, who are some of the players to look out for?
They're honestly, I wish I knew that answer to your. I wish I had that answer to your question, but I don't. Honestly, I'm not really sure. I've done a lot of research, but all the players.
Yeah, what's really exciting. Women's soccer in general. People are so into it.
People are getting much more into it these days.
Carly Lloyd came from Rutgers, and when you look at the team, there's a lot of girls primed to take over for her and follow in her footsteps.
Right.
As the legend of not even just Rutgers soccer, but the United States women's soccer grows and grows.
Yeah, and it's becoming so much more popular here too, just in general. You're starting to see more of those. Like when the national teams make it to something, the big groups put like the jumbotrons out in a city square somewhere. People are out and watching soccer more and more than they ever have in this country before.
Yeah, it's cool, and it's also changing demographics too.
Yes,
because look at the soccer stadium in Harrison.
Yes.
And the surrounding community, and it's just growing and growing. So let's switch gears to the professional teams. The New York Giants and New York Jets are coming off surprising wins. We're always so surprised on this show.
Always surprised.
Whenever one of them wins, and they both won last weekend. So can either team get a winning streak going?
Honestly, I think that they have a chance. I don't think it's the fact of, will the Giants and the Jets have like a winning streak? I actually think that the Eagles will have a losing streak.
We like that. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, right? That creates an entire new discussion. I think that's pretty cool. But I don't know, that it's a really good game. And the Jets between the Eagles, I feel like they have a really good chance. I think that's going to be another interesting game too. And the Giants and the Dolphins, I think that's going to be a really good good team too. But the Dolphins, they just versed who did they just verse? They versed the Texans, and they had a losing streak until they versed them. So I'm thinking, did something click, or are the Dolphins a better team?
Yeah, they've been definitely bumpy this season. The Giant, I'll put it this way, in my opinion, the Giants and the Jets actually have a shot at winning again, both of them, because Philadelphia is reeling, Miami's up and down. So we might have another Victory Monday around here, which I'm looking forward
I do kind of like how JC put it, though. It's not necessarily that the Jets or the Giants are winning per se, but rather the teams that they're facing are just losing.
Yeah,
yeah, exactly. It's like different. Who are you really versing the same ability? Like, are they matching? I don't think that they are. I think that they're playing teams that they shouldn't really be playing because they're not at the same,
same level.
JC, thank you so much. JerseySportingNews.com. Have a wonderful weekend.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. So a Monmouth County town has replaced its traditional live Christmas tree with something more unconventional. Officials decided there wasn't going to be a fresh cut tree at the Grand Arcade at Convention Hall on Asbury Park's historic boardwalk this year. The idea was to replace it with something different, unique, artsy, and edgy, like Asbury itself. They're calling the 17-foot creation the Giving Tree because it's centered on events that give back. It's made of recycled cardboard, and after the holidays, it will likely get recycled again. Pretty neat idea.
I like that. That's really cool. You know, it's so funny. A friend of mine was commenting about the Rock Center tree and saying something similar where it's like, you know, for all these years, you know, we keep cutting down these trees and putting them up and you know, it kind of becomes a waste at some point. Why not do something like this where, you know, we can still have the decorations and we can have the fun and it can also be eco-friendly and probably even more economical. I imagine it's expensive to go cut down and transport those big trees.
Listen, I am all about taking the tree from the basement. We had this conversation. But I mean, taking the tree,
slide it up like the umbrella,
and put some balls on. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year.
There you go.
There's no reason why they can't do that for Rockefeller Center and all these
or all the other town halls. We'd love to hear from you. Let us know what you think. Real, fake? How should towns be decorating for Christmas? Should we do it in a more eco-friendly way? You can connect with us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. That is going to be at NJ Morning Show across the board. Be sure to click follow.
What would happen if I had to pick up the phone, call 911 for one of my family members or one of my neighbors? What would I do if no one was on the other end to respond? What if there was no 911? So you can be a part of the solution.
Anybody can be a firefighter. Male, female, younger, older.
We have school teachers. We have leaders in business.
Is me, you, anyone that wants to be.
There is no typical firefighter.
Swing the hips. Oh boy, they weren't kidding. Whew.
You're looking for a gold crown?
Sure. So you say you're helping people through. How are you doing that?
Welcome back to the New Jersey Morning Show. Let's check in with meteorologist Mike Favetta on your New Jersey weather forecast.
Good morning to you both. On the Christmas tree note, this is something that I think is a foreign concept to us here in the States. When I lived in Milan, in Italy, they don't cut down the Christmas trees, but they give it to you in a big pot of dirt. Kind of like those giant planters that you would see outside, and you transport it home, you keep the tree alive in dirt, and then at the end of the year, in January, you give it back, and they bring it up to the top of a mountain and plant it to grow to become a real tree.
Can I tell you, that's how I grew up. We always had a real Christmas tree with a root ball that my father then planted on the property when we were done. People think I'm nuts when I tell them that story. So apparently this is like
he's keeping the tradition alive.
He was. All the little pine trees around my parents' property are all old Christmas trees that my dad
That's really
planted
beautiful.
in the yard. It was that we always did that.
Now, my grandfather didn't do that with Christmas trees, but he does it with fig trees.
I'm going to your grandfather's house.
I mean, he has given fig trees out just
gotta wrap them. That takes a lot of work.
We have 2 fig trees on my property. Because grandpa's fig tree.
Now that it's the garden.
Count them up.
Mike,
One,
go ahead. What's the forecast?
2, 3. 3 fig trees.
You have 3 fig trees.
3.
So how many do you have?
I have none. Someone give me a fig
okay.
tree.
My grandfather might have one in a pot somewhere.
I'm sure he does.
Well, the joy is trying to keep them alive, especially during the harshest winters.
You wrap yours, right?
Yes.
Those are wrapped.
Speaking of winters, we've got some pleasant winter-like weather ahead because it doesn't feel all that harsh this upcoming weekend. Now, our forecast for the next few days brings in, yes, some cold weather. However, like Lisa Marie mentioned before, it's not technically winter yet. Astronomically speaking, astronomical winter begins Tuesday, December 21st around 4 p.m. However, meteorological winter began 2 days ago on December 1st because December, January, February are the 3 months of the year, those calendar months that meteorologists look to determine average temperatures and a bunch of other meteorological statistics when speaking of winter. However, the rest of us use December 21st as the day. So 18 days left until winter arrives when the sunrise is at 7:17. Sunset is at 4:32. If that bill goes through and we stay permanently on daylight saving time, well, then our sunrise would be at 8:17 in the morning and our sunset would be at 5:32 p.m. So it still gets dark early and you lose that hour in the morning. But we'll see. There's only so much sunlight you can work with, especially this time of year at our position. Our forecast brings back on the 7-day forecast a little bit of rain by Monday, and with that wet weather moving in comes in some milder weather briefly. So just like we enjoyed the 50s and 60s yesterday, it was downright mild last evening. That'll be the case again on Monday with a couple of showers around. By Tuesday and Wednesday, it gets a little bit cooler, and yet come the end of next week, there's the potential for yet some more rain. Any snow should stay well off to our north. So here we are, first week of December, and haven't really had a good round of snow yet, other than a few passing flakes and those little icy and rimed ice pellets that fall to the ground and kind of bounce and people think are hail when it's actually called grapple. It's just a snow pellet. We've kind of been teased by winter so far. So no big storms in the forecast as of yet, but of course, we'll keep you updated, see if I see anything in the long-range charts. We'll take another check of your weather coming up in a few minutes.
Thank you very much, Mike. Yeah, I don't know. I had some pretty big flakes flying the other day. Nothing stuck.
But it didn't really stick. It was like a tease. You know, they were festive flakes.
It was festive. It was very pretty, actually.
But I did not know. What did you call it? Grapple?
Grapple. Yes.
Grapple. I
Grapple.
never knew that. That was
it's like a little snow pellet, and people think it's hail because it's white and it bounces, and they're like, "Oh my goodness, it's hailing." Well, it's actually just a snowflake that has the rimed ice on it, which is the same ice you find in your freezer when it hasn't defrosted. That white ice on the walls. That's what occurs.
So much
in the
when Mike
summer.
is here.
Every weather forecast, you bring a new factoid
New term.
to the table. I love it.
I love it.
You need a weather education show. Yeah, I would watch every week.
Or you could just take my course at Kane University, happening Mondays and Wednesdays, 12:30 to 3:30.
Like the new Bill Nye. That's what I want you to
I'm too ADD to go back to. I was ADD then. Now it's even worse. Yeah. So.
I see.
But you know what? Mike, thank you very much. We will check back in with you in just a little bit. But speaking of this kind of winter weather, the change in time we recently experienced with daylight savings can trigger symptoms of seasonal affective disorder. It affects people of all ages. Throw in on top of that COVID-19, winter blues could be a little bit worse this year. So joining us now is clinical, and I hope I'm saying this correctly, geropsychologist with New Jersey-based Baker Street Behavioral Health, Dr. Carrie Dietzel. Good morning, doctor.
Good morning, ladies. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining us. So
grapple. My mind is blown.
Right? We learned all kinds of wonderful things on this show, and I'm so excited to learn about what you have to say, because I know for me personally, this is something that absolutely impacts me. So what is seasonal affective disorder? What are some of the signs and symptoms of it?
Yes. So seasonal affective disorder is really a subtype of depression. So it includes the same type of things that you would feel if you feel depressed. It just comes during a certain time of year because there's certain factors right now during this season, less daylight, colder weather. There's a little bit of a biochemistry factor that comes into that as well. So it's really the symptoms of depression, feeling sad or down, changes in your appetite. In particular with seasonal affective disorder, you might want to carbo load and want to have all that warm, fuzzy kind of food, right? But it's to a level that's not healthy, and maybe gaining weight, sleep disturbance, troubles with concentration, feeling like you want to withdraw, not really want to do much, low motivation. These are things that are always part of depression, but are part of seasonal affective disorder, and you experience it kind of with that season.
Yeah, and like Kara said, we're in the throes of a pandemic that is not going away. I mean, cases are running rampant again. I mean, I know so many people now with COVID. Why could this situation make people more vulnerable to this disorder?
Yeah, this is a great question. And this is something that in our psychology practice at Baker Street, we're seeing really a lot of people that are otherwise doing fine and would be doing fine before COVID are now having trouble because, let's be honest, we're all under chronic stress. The pandemic is stressful. We're constantly changing. We're constantly adjusting. We get one thing handled and now we've got to make an adjustment to new variants or things of that nature. So we're all taxed. Our coping skills are taxed. The things that we might like to do, maybe we can't do because we're still socially distancing or staying away from crowds, things like that. So we're not at our best right now, and we're all just trying to get along. So then you add this layer of the seasonal affective issues. And maybe before the pandemic, you would have coped, you would have been okay, you feel a little blue, you get by. But now adding that on to this chronic stress of the pandemic, you might actually feel some real symptoms that could use, attention.
And then, so what would be some of the things that people could do to kind of try to help alleviate themselves? Again, like you said, because with the pandemic, some of our maybe usual things like reaching out to friends or spending time together that would otherwise help us, maybe we can't or we're not comfortable doing just yet. So what are some other things that we can do to help care for ourselves?
Yeah, I would say think about what makes you happy, right? What's the opposite of depression? Feeling some happiness, giving yourself a little boost, and make sure you're doing that. Make sure you're making time to do that, whether that's a hobby, whether that's, calling and FaceTiming a little more. We always say, we're going to have our FaceTime or our Zoom cocktails. Make sure you actually do that because you're not actually going to go out. Make sure you're doing things that make you happy. Make sure you're making time for it. And then you could do some other things that are really specific to the season. Here in the Northeast, we are cold and you may not be spending as much time outside. Well, the holidays are coming. Ask for warm gloves and some warm sweaters and spend a little time outside. Make yourself do that because that can actually help lift your mood. Looking in your environment, in your home, lighten and brighten. I like to say, let's do a winter clean instead of a spring clean. How nice and how great would that feel, to have done that? And your sleep environment, sleep right now is a little bit disrupted with, 4 or 5 o'clock. I'm saying, is it midnight? I want to go to bed. It's so dark outside, right? So make sure your sleep environment is conducive to that. It's light during the day, dark at night, feels comfortable. You have a good sleep routine. These are kind of everyday things you can just be mindful of to make sure that you're kind of moving along through the season.
Yeah. Finally, before we wrap, I just have a question for you. What is your opinion on changing the time? Should we just keep it to either daylight or standard and leave it alone, or?
Well, I wish my opinion mattered that much and it would make a difference, but I really don't have a strong opinion one way or the other. I would say when it comes to depression and symptoms and things of that nature, there's a lot of things that trigger it. Not one thing triggers seasonal affective disorder. It's a group of things, and it includes the change in the weather here for us in the Northeast, and then our own coping skills and predispositions to mental health issues. So, I don't have a strong opinion one way or the other, and it really wouldn't be my area to say. But I would say from a psychology perspective, which is where I'm coming from, not one thing is going to make seasonal affective disorder happen or not.
Doctor, thank you so much. And just where can, I think sometimes for a lot of people, like depression is a big and scary word and maybe not something that they're willing to, kind of admit or commit to. But if someone feels like they might need some extra help besides turning on the lights and taking a walk outside, where can they reach you?
You could reach us, Baker Street Behavioral Health. We're in Northern New Jersey. You can find us, bakerstreetpsych.com very easily. Call us. We have a myriad of services. We have therapy. We have med management across the lifespan, from children to older adults. And so also keep in mind that you don't have to have a major mental health problem to benefit from someone who's impartial with a new perspective to help you cope. Seasonal affective disorder specifically can be treated, in a really poignant, focused way to help just bolster those coping skills, especially coming off the pandemic where we might not be as strong in doing that on our own. So you don't have to come in and say and be labeled, I have this major mental health issue. No, you can benefit from counseling services. Really, everybody can in some way if you're open to it. So you can reach us there and find us online and all of our social media. And we're here for you. We're ready to go.
Dr. Dietzel, thank you so much. Again, it's bakerstreetpsych.com. We so appreciate your time this morning. And again, I'm personally a big proponent and supporter of therapy and go talk to somebody if you need it. Absolutely. Thank you again so much. You enjoy your weekend.
You guys as well. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Ken.
So we're just going to keep on with the stressful holiday cold weather theme. So yes, this is a stressful time enough, but even more so if you were going through a divorce. Here to help ease the stress factor is divorce attorney and founder of Divorce Dynasty, Carolina Deinhardt. Good morning, Carolina. How are you?
I'm well, thank you, ladies. I've been watching the show, and I can tell you that my parents also bought the trees in the pot, and they're all over the backyard. So I'm with you on that one.
Yes.
Oh, good. I'm glad we're not the only ones.
I'm literally sitting here laughing. I'm like, this is my life.
Yeah. Oh, that makes us happy. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for joining the show. I know many people incur credit card debt around the holidays to try and make the holidays special. How do you handle buying gifts for your kids when the family is in the process of breaking up?
Well, listen, divorce happens for usually one of two reasons, right? Infidelity or money issues. So imagine that infidelity happened, divorce is looming, and now you have money issues that are potentially going to increase because you still want to make the holiday special for your children. This is especially true where you have one income earning spouse who controls the pocketbook. And although we're supposed to have maintenance of the status quo when you're divorcing, how easy is it to start manipulating that when you're going through a divorce? So I find that we have to really pay attention during the holiday season when the children have front row seat to the divorce and the parents want to make it as easy for them as possible by maybe throwing extra gifts at them. So it's a time for parents to really come together, put their adult hat on, be very mature, not incur further debt, but not allow the children to feel like everything is falling apart.
And Carolina, then what is your advice for parents who maybe haven't sat down and have that agreed upon plan? What's the best way to kind of communicate, how are we going to manage presents? Who's going to have the kids for the holidays? How do you help people put on that parent hat and say, listen, you need to be the grown up here and deal with one another?
One of the biggest issues in a lot of our divorce cases is obviously what happens to the children. And this is a reason people run to court. Holiday schedules, parenting time schedules, it's a big issue. I always encourage my clients to remember that they're not divorcing their children, they're divorcing each other. So it's always to the benefit of the two parents to sit down together and talk about what's best for their family, not a judge who's a stranger in a black robe sitting, listening to, tens of thousands of cases, making a decision. It's time to put your differences aside, especially around the holidays where emotions are running high. We just had the doctor on a few minutes ago. This is a very, very sensitive time of year. So if you can put your differences aside, you do. If you can't, then the lawyers will try to resolve by way of some agreement. Worst case scenario, we're in front of a judge.
Yeah. Tell us about Divorce Dynasty.
So Divorce Dynasty is a concierge platform of vetted professionals coming together to plug and play when you're going through divorce. I'm a partner at a law firm, Lindenberry McCormick, and I'm blessed to have so many different professionals and lawyers around me. But when I was going through my divorce, and although I was an educated woman, I thought I was an equal partner in my marriage. I was married to a prominent state senator, lawyer, and I felt unequipped. So fast forward, when I became a lawyer, I started seeing women who resembled me coming into my office. Lost. I don't know how to read a tax return. Do I get to keep the house? Can I keep health insurance? And I decided right there and then that I needed to put together a team of people that are going to be plugged in where needed to help the divorce process. So the Divorce Dynasty platform is therapists, bankers, lawyers, doctors, dog walkers, wedding planners, relationship experts, everything you need to help you unwind and then recreate your new life.
That's an excellent idea.
That's an incredible story. So your business then is basically based off of your own experience. And how did you become an attorney? I think that's supposedly a pretty incredible story as well.
So English is my second language. I came to this country from Poland with my mom when I was 7 in search of the American dream. And my God, did I have the American dream. I married, as I said, a successful attorney, today still a very prominent state senator in New Jersey. And I thought life was literally living Cinderella's dream. Well, unfortunately, divorce happened. And at that point in time, I was a social worker, giving back to people that were disenfranchised. I knew I needed to continue having a voice. So got divorced July. And by January, I was in law school. I knew that I had an obligation to share my story to help empower others going through the process. Because when the shoe drops and you're not prepared, my God, are you nervous? My God, are you scared? That's not the time to start preparing. So Divorce Dynasty, really fed by my story, is educating people and getting them ready. And if you never get divorced, you'll be empowered. You'll be educated. It's all good.
Yeah. No, listen, divorce is not for the faint of heart. Yeah, I'm speaking from personal experience. Thank God, many years ago. I wish I knew you then. But this was so fun. I mean, you can come on the show anytime. We loved having you. Where can we learn more about you?
So I encourage everybody to go to Linda Berry McCormick, where you will read my entire bio and have all sorts of information about me. I'm bilingual. I speak fluent Polish. So a lot of my Eastern European clients, I welcome those. Certainly on all sorts of social media platforms. Divorce Dynasty has a website. So just Google me. You will find me. And I am available 24/7, really here to service and help.
Carolina, you are such an inspiration. Thank you so much. Happy holidays to you.
Thank you, ladies. Happy holidays.
Thanks again, Carolina. Wow, she was great. What a fantastic concept.
Yeah.
To put it all together like that. That's an excellent idea.
I love those ultimate lemonade out of lemon stories.
That's how you got to do it, right? That's it. All right, Lise, coming up next, our good friend author Andrew Cotto is here to tell us about his new book. I can't wait to talk about this. And as always, you can connect with all of us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at NJ Morning Show. Give us a follow. We'll let you know who's coming up next week on the show.
The American Lung Association invites you to join us outside in 2021 for our Fight for Air Climb events. Now more than ever, we need you in the fight for clean air and healthy lungs. Let's go outside and climb, because every step counts. Visit us at lung.org.
Swing the hips. Oh boy, they weren't kidding. Whew.
You're looking for a gold crown.
Sure. So you say you're helping people through. How are you doing that?
Welcome back to the New Jersey Morning Show. Let's get a check of the Garden State weather forecast with our meteorologist, Mike Favetta.
Good morning to you both on this very sunny and very cold Friday. It's the first Friday in meteorological winter. However, like I mentioned before, we're waiting until later in December to kind of call winter officially here, with astronomical winter arriving December 21st. Our forecast feeling quite chilly until then, but there is a mild day, and that's on Monday. You'll see here with the 7-day forecast, lots of warm air returning. It's like a one-day sale on Monday, bringing back all of that mild weather with a little bit of rain later on that evening after a pleasantly dry weekend. Now, highs this weekend are pretty much where they should be. Usually we see high temperatures hold in the mid-40s with overnight lows in the mid-30s, and yeah, that's where we'll be going forward. There's our mild day on Monday, and then Tuesday brings back another round of chilly weather and sunshine to get you started, but it's Wednesday and Thursday that has another few rounds of wet weather, pretty much scattered showers on and off through the end of next week. That end of week system may have been a little bit of snow mixing in, but now the latest information looks like it's a little too warm, so not too concerned about it as of yet. Of course, we'll have all the latest right here on NJ On Air and on njonair.com. You can find the forecast details there as well. Lisa Marie and Kara?
Mike, thank you very much. You know that that December 21st start, the official start of winter, is also Mama D's birthday. So we always have something to celebrate on that day.
Yes,
but she
we
gets
will.
mad because she says she gets the shortest day of the year for her birthday.
Daylight hours, all days are 24 hours long.
My dad said that it's still 24 hours. It's just less sunlight. But yeah, so winter solstice is Mama D.
Imagine if we lived in like Alaska where
No.
they don't even have the sun.
No, can't do.
Have you been there, Mike? Like to see the Northern Lights?
So the furthest north I've been is the Arctic Circle in Iceland. It's
Wow.
only a 4-hour flight from Newark. It's very fast.
Yeah.
And I did the summer solstice tour where you can go out like on a midnight whale watching boat and it's daylight at midnight.
daylight.
It's really creepy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
So
cool.
that's-
though. I would
that's the
do
most
that.
I've
I'm down for all that stuff. I'm fascinated by all of it. We know this is why we love having Mike around because we always learn all kinds of cool weather
But
stuff.
he is right. Iceland is a short. I had a layover in Iceland on my way to Paris. And it's a short. It's surprisingly short.
It's actually kind of on my bucket list. I want.
Yeah, maybe we do a big morning show trip. to
We'll
see
just
the
add it
Northern
to the
Lights.
long list of group trips that
Yeah.
this show is taking.
When we all go to Italy, we'll lay over.
We'll lay over in Iceland.
There you
that
go.
works.
That's a great idea. Let's get on that.
Let's get up. We'll make that happen.
They definitely need your food in Iceland.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I don't know, Mike. The airport was like a log cabin. I don't know if you remember. And like the sandwiches
So
were.
Reykjavik started to renovate. I was there 4 years ago, and they
Okay.
started to renovate, so it's a little bit better. Keflavik Airport, I forget the name of it. So it's getting there, but the bus station was under renovation, and that looked like it was out of the 1940s.
Oh
So
boy.
yeah,
All right.
they're working on things there. Getting ready for your big arrival.
Yes, that's it. That's it. They'll be ready for us when we get there. Mike, thank you very much. As always, I am so excited for our next guest. He is a good friend of both me personally and the show, author who is releasing his 7th work of fiction in January. Please welcome Andrew Cotto to the show. Good morning, my friend.
Good morning. Good to see you guys.
How are you?
You hear me okay?
We can
I'm
hear
well.
you.
Actually, I was.
We
I
get a
started
little
watching
delay.
this show.
Feedback, yeah.
Okay, yeah. We're a little fuzzy on my end, but bear with me. I'm better fuzzy.
We'll make it work. So listen, tell us about your new book coming out in January, Pasta Mike, A Story of Friendship and Loss. This is a little darker than you've done some noir stuff, but this one, I really like this one. I know this is very personal for you.
Uh-oh. I think we're having an audio problem.
Uh-oh.
Are you not hearing us? No.
I lost you there. Let me
Live
Your
television.
producer's asking me a question here. Hold on one sec.
Okay,
I
we're
thought
going
we
to
were
get
done with
back
these kind
to
of problems.
Andrew in just a second. Yeah. And in the meantime, we're going to skip ahead and talk a little bit about Toys R Us.
Which is making a comeback. I'm very excited about
I am kind
that.
of excited too.
Yes, I'm very excited because the baby needs Toys R Us. in her
Of
life.
course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're making a comeback and they're doing it where else? At New Jersey's American Dream Mega Mall at the Meadowlands, which I still haven't been to.
I know, me neither.
That is our
Add
first
it to the
trip.
trip list.
Exactly. They're opening a 20,000 square foot 2-story store just in time for the holiday season. It will be the new global Toys R Us flagship store. It will be located right near the Nickelodeon Universe theme park and DreamWorks water park. Such an appropriate location. The store will open in about 2 weeks. Last week, they announced a partnership with Macy's, opening their online toy store together and planning 400 Toys R Us shops inside Macy's stores.
I'm so excited for and I think that's so perfect that they picked American Dream and that because that whole location has really become not shopping so much but the experience of all of these things. And so what a great, but I mean, you had to have gone to the one in the city with the big giraffe and the Ferris wheel in the middle. I mean, that was such an experience.
Exactly.
When we were little. So of course you want to take the kids there and I don't know, there really is just something about it.
I mean, obviously my daughter's 9 months old. So I mean, there's nothing, I can't take her yet, but in a couple of years, I mean, think about that. You can have a whole weekend at the American Dream.
You really can.
Between all the different water parks, the ski slope when that reopens, because that just caught fire.
Did it?
Yeah, a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, something there. Anyway, but you could really spend a lot of time there. And then if you want adult time, we had Ken Downing on a few weeks ago talking about that whole luxury wing.
Yes.
That sounds like a rodeo drive, but indoors.
And I love that it's right here. It's right in Jersey. They finally put it together. It looks nice finally. It's not this eyesore off the turnpike anymore. And it's good to see Toys R Us come back just because they, for us, again, so much nostalgia there to have Toys R Us be back.
So speaking of my 9-month-old, I need to shout someone out very special that we got to spend time with this past weekend. I want to shout out Jennifer Culinary of Lily Shea Photography. If her last name sounds familiar, it's because she's the wife of John Culinary, HGTV star, who is a dear friend of this show. She started her own photography business after she discovered her passion for capturing moments of her 2 adorable little girls, Lily and Shay. She came over last weekend and did a family session for us. And the photos came out gorgeous. So that's Lily and Shay.
Those are her girls.
Yes. And I'm breaking news here that's Liana in front of the Christmas tree.
She is.
Yeah, I'm biased, but she did a really good job.
With the twinkle lights.
Yes.
She's so pretty. She is so pretty. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
These are beautiful.
Yeah. So Jennifer does a really good job. Thank you so much. And I know she's still taking clients on for the holidays. So there's still time out there for you procrastinators.
So for those of us who have not even thought to put together a Christmas card, you can make it happen. Is that what you're telling us?
Yeah, but there's still time. And you can find her on Instagram, Lily Shea Photos. And, getting the photos is one thing, but actually getting them printed is another. So I did it through Shutterfly.
Yeah.
And they're not going to be in until December 9th. So the weekend of my husband and I's birthday, I have to do
You're going to be doing Christmas cards. How did she do with the baby, though? Because I feel like that's such a struggle to get the baby with the lights and the whole
She did good. The baby's used to it. Because all day, every day.
Because you're her mother.
Yeah,
yes.
Exactly. So it was baby's first photo shoot with a stranger, and she did well.
That is amazing. Really fast, while we are shouting people out, we just want to point out the poinsettias behind us on our decor as well. These are from Bartlett's Florist in Clifton. We want to thank them so much for helping make our studio so nice and festive for the month of December. And now we have Andrew back. So let us get back to Andrew Cotto. We're going to be talking about his new book, Pasta Mike. Hi, my friend.
Hello. Sorry about that.
That's quite all right. So
I think it was those previous segments about the shortest day of the year and divorce and depression. It just threw my whole thing off here.
Came to a screeching halt. It really did. No. So you listen, your new book, it's coming out in January. It's called Pasta Mike, A Story of Friendship and Loss. I know this one is really personal for you, and I'm really excited about this book, and I'm proud of you for writing it and putting it out there. Can you tell us about this story?
Sure. I mean, it always has to begin with a sort of a disclaimer in that the book is a work of fiction, but the characters are real. So the book is about obviously someone named Mike, who's a guy named Mike O'Shea, who was my oldest and dearest friend. And he passed away in 2013 from leukemia. And I felt, A, devastated by it personally, but B, as a writer, compelled to sort of not just tell his story, but tell the story of the power of friendship, and how meaningful it was. And I knew it was important to me during our lifetimes, but after he passed, it resonated in a much more profound way. So I felt sort of compelled as a storyteller to sort of dig into it, but I couldn't do it in a memoir. It was too personal and also too complicated. I mean, he had a really immense life, and I didn't feel I had the skills to cover his entire existence. So I took Mike and myself and kept our names. I'm Andy Cotto, he's Mike O'Shea, and plopped us out of our lives in Glen Rock, where we grew up, right here in New Jersey, and put us in a fictionalized setting in the city. But everything else is absolutely true as it pertains to the two characters and the depth of their friendship.
Is it easier to write from that basis of fiction? Does it allow you to be a little more open than if you were writing an autobiography?
Yes. And hi, Lisa Marie. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good to see you.
Mary Kovach says hello, by the way. And
tell Mary I said hi, too. I heard her rock star management books right behind me on the shelf somewhere. It's much easier. I mean, I do lots of nonfiction essay writing in short form. and lots of that's been pretty personal. I have a column at the Good Men Project, and I cover a lot of these things. In fact, the genesis of this book was short form articles I was writing about my experiences with Mike in life and then in death. But to do it in long form is really complicated, and I'm a novelist by trade, and I like the freedom that fiction allows, because I'm not obliged to get everything right, because I'm not a stickler for detail. I don't bake, I cook, right?
I know what you mean. I know what you mean. So speaking of, why do you love to use food as such a central part of your stories? I mean, because it is a theme through all of your writing.
Yeah, for me, food is a device for that serves many purposes. Characterization, ambiance, sensory details, and experience. I love using food as an important part of my characters' lives, because food is an important part of my life. And I think that for many of us, food is an enormous source of pleasure, of wellness, of communion. And in this book here in particular, the food is sort of the jumping off point for the character of Andy, which is me. His sort of reconciliation with grief is triggered by some food memories, and we know one thing for sure is that food does conjure memory like nothing else. So I use food in this case. Food was a huge part of my life with Mike. He's Irish, I'm Italian. He always came to my house to eat. I went to his house to drink, I guess. But he was always eating at my house. And actually the name Pasta Mike is one I actually made up. But my grandmother loved feeding Mike. She would ask him what he wanted at her house before she asked me. Because he was this big, enormous figure who would eat, plate after plate of her food, which was so validating for her. But the character of the name Pasta Mike comes from Andy's grandmother, who called Mike Pasta Mike. So it's a really important part of the story, and I love the fact that it sort of stimulates or triggers the recovery part.
Yeah, absolutely.
So before I ask my next question, I just have to say I am in love with your book cover. I know never judge a book by its cover, but I tend to.
Yes.
Yeah, judge this one by its cover.
Yeah, for just, graphic design purposes, marketing purposes. It is a gorgeous cover. Who did that for you?
The publisher did that. They make great covers. And I think, and I agree with you, Lisa Marie. I mean, covers are really important. They're the first thing that catches someone's eye. In fact, I actually love the back cover too. If you can see, that's a picture of me and Mike. There, that's Mike. Giving me a hug. I'm getting the light on it there, aren't I?
Yeah.
But that's him over at an event, and he's giving me a big hug. You see, and the way he's lit up by the sun there, it's just an amazing photograph. And the front and the back, I'm really happy with it. I said to the publisher, hey, I need to sort of. I love Eat, Pray, Love is a cool cover, right? I don't know if you recall it. It's sort of scripted, and the eat part is scripted in pasta.
Yeah.
So that was my idea to them. So I threw some ideas at them, and this is what they came back with. I was like, done. Check. Let's go.
Yeah, no, it's beautiful. And I just wanted to say that because I genuinely wanted you to know that. And I understand you're having a book launch here in New Jersey. When and where is it?
Yeah, so the book publishes in January, and I'm really just starting the promotional part, and I'm so honored to be here with you guys to begin that. It will be actually in Glen Rock. So Mike and I grew up in Glen Rock together, and he ended up living in Wyckoff as an adult. So he's very, very much rooted in that area of Bergen County. And I thought that it'd be appropriate to have the book launched there because he still has so many friends and family in the area, as do I, but more so him. He was way more popular than me, than I. And so we're having it in Glen Rock. There's a community church there. It has an annex in the back with a huge public space, and there's a stage. So I don't do book release parties at bookstores. I do, but I prefer, bigger venues with more people allowed, a more festive environment. So it's January 14th, which is a Friday night in Glen Rock, at the Glen Rock Community Church annex in the back. Tickets are $50, but you get with the $50 is a copy of Pasta Mike. A dinner. It's pasta night with Pasta Mike. So we're having it catered. So there's pasta,
I love it.
And salad and bread and dessert. My buddy Danny Green and his band are going to play. And I'll be playing a few songs with them too on guitar. So there's music, there's food, there's a book, and there's wine. all for
what
that.
more could you want?
I thought it'd be a perfect way to celebrate Mike's life, and also to bring people together. And I know it's the tough time of year, right? So I thought something on the calendar that's festive and to look forward to would be great timing as well. So if you want to purchase tickets in advance, you can go to my website and contact me, or find me on Facebook or Instagram. At Andrew Cotto is my tag.
Your
and
handle, okay. And then the
you
website
guys are
is
coming, right? Wait, time out.
Yeah.
I need to just find a babysitter, but if I can, I'm there.
Bring the baby.
Well, just
It'll be great
why not?
pictures
It's
there.
pasta and music.
Yeah,
She's used to it at this
She's
point.
used to it, yeah. She
Mama
just
D's coming too,
discovered
right, Carrie? It'd be a
Festina.
great birthday present for Mama D.
Yes, absolutely. We'll take her. Andrew Cotto, thank you so much for joining us, talking to us about the book. Once again, it's Pasta Mike. It'll be released in January. We will definitely see you at the event. I hope you have a fantastic weekend, and I will talk to you very soon, my friend.
Thank you. Thanks
Merry
for having
Christmas, Mike. Thank you.
me. Buon Natale.
Buon Natal.
All right, guys, that about wraps us up for this week on the New Jersey Morning Show. Thank you so much for tuning in and watching. Again, remember, we are live every Friday morning starting at 9 a.m. Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and YouTube, I believe, and NJ on air. So if you can stream it, you can find us.
And you can find us anywhere at our handles as well.
Absolutely. Be sure to check us out at NJ Morning Show, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Have a fabulous weekend.